Everyone, it's me, your boy, Geomalander. And as I told you guys, I am gonna make a video over Wikipedia's version of the last annual conflict. So the 2023 last annual conflict is an ongoing armed conflict between the Somaliland National Army and the SSC Khartoum forces of the Dhulbahante in Las Anod, the capital of Sol region. Fighting erupted on February 6 after Somaliland security forces held a violent crackdown on civil protests. On February 8th, the Supreme Garat of the Dhulbahante, Garat Jama Garat Ali, declared an intent to secede and reunite with the federal government of Somalia. And why would they want to rejoin a country that's still in civil war? That's still where Al-Shabaab still exists. Do they want to live in Somaliland where we're at peace? So here the date from February to the 2023 to the present. Location Las Anod. Result: Khartoum forces captured all military bases and towns in the Las Anod district and Sol region. It probably helps their capture of Bojale probably helped. So allegedly Djibouti supports us. Allegedly. The conflict has killed over 300 people and displaced 1,100,000 to 200,000 refugees. Those are some big numbers, especially in Sol. Probably one of our most, let's say, least dense areas of Somaliland, but still large, very large for that. Let's continue. Citizens have been displaced en masse externally to Buhadle and the Ethiopian border, internally to SSC Khartoum territories of Taleh, Hudun and Buhadle, or to Puntland cities, most commonly Garawe, Gelkayo, or Brutinle. On March 16, Somaliland troops were reported to be shelling civilians from the surrounding area. In late April, Amnesty International released a report determining the Somaliland security forces indiscriminately shelling of Las Anod has damaged schools, mosques, hospitals, and killed and injured civilians. And you know, guys, as I always say, leave the civilians alone. You know, there's a conflict happening right now, very close to Somaliland. It's the conflict in Gaza. I support the people of Gaza, and their civilians are being attacked unnecessarily by the Israelis. Does the Somaliland armed forces want to become like the Israeli defense forces? No, of course we don't. Then why are we shelling? Especially look at this world. Hospitals. You guys know about the Al-Shifa hospital, right? And how the Israelis are bombing it, allegedly saying it's a Hamas military position. Let's look at the background. Sahanoun has been controlled by Somaliland since 2007, since the local Puntland militia switched loyalties. Also, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Plus, I'm also making a second video, so watch that one after you watch this one. The clan militias supporting Somaliland were loyal to Ahmed Abdi Habsadeh, a Puntland minister who defected to Somaliland and then returned to Puntland. What would you go doing that for? Why would you want to return to Puntland? In particular, the defense situation reported to have severely declined under Somaliland's control. The assassinations. Somaliland should really investigate what's happening what's happening with those assassinations. They've been happening since 2007, since we took control. In December 2022, a civil demonstration and unrest began to spread across and northwest across the Sol region from Talah to Kalabayd, Hudun, Bo'ame, and Tukhara, driven by perceived political marginalization in Somaliland. The protests were triggered by the death of Abdel Fattah Abdulli Hadrawi, a popular politician in the Wadani opposition party. In the mass civil demonstration reached Las Anod, Somalian security forces held a violent crackdown on the protesters. A violent crackdown on protesters. Somaliland is becoming less and less democratic. In a democratic country, protesters are not violently cracked down upon. Maybe if they're being a bit destructive, you could crack down on them less violently. Like, this one killed 20 people. 20. Okay, following bilateral talks, Somaliland troops retreated from the city to the Sol outposts to prevent further violence. Following mass protests that continued from December into January, the retreat of the Somaliland troops paved the way for the return of the Supreme Garad of the Durbante, Garad Chama Garad Ali, a community leader exiled from Las Anod since 2007. Okay, one thing, the people of Las Anod, we've removed soldiers from your territory, and then you go doing this. Rumors spread of a grand meeting of all Dolbahante clan elders, followed by speculation that the elders would vote to exile Somaliland security forces from the city. On 6th of February 2023, the Dolbahante clan elders declared their intent to form a state government named SSC Khatuma within the federal government of Somalia. Fighting broke out earlier on the same day in Las Anod between Somaliland troops and Dolbahante militias in Sayadka Hill suburb. Reportedly home to 2 committee members, with shots heard in the streets surrounding Hamal Hotel when Somaliland dignitaries were staying. The Supreme Garad of the Lubante Garad Jama Garad Ali accused the Somaliland government of genocide. Genocide. Genocide? That has to be the biggest lie in history. Called for peace and declared Las Anod's intent to self-determination and be governed from Mogadishu. What would they... Now, which is closer, Mogadishu or Hargeisa? Which is closer to Las Anod? Why would they want to be controlled by a capital much further than them? Within the same week of February, fighting and civilian bombardments had killed at least 82 people in total and displaced 90% of residents. The region has produced 185,000 internally displaced people and 60,000 refugees in February. On 22nd of March, the mayor of Las Anod reported the Somaliland forces were bombing public buildings from the surrounding countryside, including government institutions and hospitals. As I say, do not bomb civilians. The UN also reported a casualty count of over 200 deaths. Also, guys, before I continue, I want to mention this. My front camera is broken, and you can look. It's not working properly. Something's happened to it. So let me continue. A number of fellow Harti Darod, including the Marsangali, the Ashish, and Marjantine clans, have announced their support for Las Anod. Of course they did. Dolbahante and sent armed contingents to the city. The Dolbahante are receiving money, equipment, and fighters from allied Darod Harti clans in Somalia, including the Marsangali and Marjantine. Amnesty on the 20th of April, Amnesty International released a record concluding a 2-month human rights investigation into the Las Anod conflict. The report called for an urgent investigation into the conflict, including interviews from local citizens describing shrapnel and mortar shell deaths. The report also included photos of indiscriminate 107mm rocket shelling from Somaliland security forces, confirmed the use of weapons banned as part of the UN of the current UN Somali arms embargo. Shelling, literal shelling of a city. Somaliland is dying. So, on the 7th of June, the UN Security Council released a statement reaffirming their full respect for the sovereignty, territorial integrity, and political independence and unity of Somalia. Of course they do. Somaliland should be recognized. UN, we should be recognized. We have all the qualifications for an independent country. Somaliland is an independent country. They also stated that the members of the Security Council call for the immediate withdrawal of Somaliland security forces and urge all parties to exercise restraint, refrain from provocative actions, incitement to violence, and inflammatory rhetoric. This is in order to de-escalate the situation on ground, rebuild trust, and create the conditions for peace. It may work, it may not work. But considering the UN's history, it's probably not gonna work. The following day, the Somaliland Minister of Foreign Affairs released a statement expressing their view that the UNSC appears to be misinformed about the facts on the ground. On the 11th of July, Somaliland troops were reported to have shelled health facilities and public infrastructures in Las Anod. Once again, Somaliland, do you want to be like the IDF? Stop shelling civilian places like health facilities, destroying 2 ambulances and causing dozens of casualties, including healthcare workers and patients. The WHO published a press release condemning the attacks on the facility and the shelling of hospitals. I'd say that's justified. In response, the Somaliland Ministry of Foreign Affairs described the statement as disturbing and claimed that they were fighting clan militias and Al-Shabaab terrorists to ensure that those in need have access to these services and other humanitarian assistance. That's kind of lying, Somaliland. On the 16th of August, famous Somaliland traditional poet Abu Anchama Kadia was reportedly killed by indiscriminate mortar shelling in Las Anod. Oh, how far is Somaliland falling? Both Somaliland and SSC Khartoum blamed each other for his death. The incident sparked strong emotions among the residents of Somalia and Khartoum, who were understandably outraged by the loss of a respected poet and community member. Some individuals within Khartoum even expressed a desire for justice and retribution in response to the incident. They indicated a potential intent to take revenge on Somaliland, given their suspicions. Probably justified. Like, Somaliland really shouldn't be killing civilians, especially a famous poet. On the August 25th, the SSC and their allied Houthi forces achieved an overwhelming victory by decisively defeating 2 heavily fortified strongholds held by the Somaliland army in Maraga and Gochad, skillfully employing a double envelopment tactic. Subsequently, a fierce conflict erupted in Dawansar between the SSC and Somaliland forces, lasting for an intense 1-hour battle. The SSC forces once again emerged victorious and continued their advance towards Tulo Samakab. They successfully severed the vital transportation route connecting Las Anod and Og, with their momentum carrying them forward to Yagori and Gumais. This advance resulted in a capture of a substantial amount of military equipment, including several T-54 and 55 tanks, multiple Zu-23 anti-aircraft systems, 8 Fiat CM6. I'm not really good with military stuff. and weapons. So let's just and some vehicles, some multi-rocket launchers, and other undisclosed military assets. Additionally, a significant quantity of weaponry was neutralized during this operation. During this battle, General Faisal Abdi Botan, a commander of the Somaliland Army's 12th Division, was captured along with the security personnel. He was apprehended while attempting to escape to Og using an ambulance vehicle in an effort to conceal his identity. Reports further suggest that his entire division suffered severe casualties at the Maraga front, ultimately leading to its near annihilation. On the same day, the Somaliland Ministry of Defense released a statement saying the National Army is in midst of a reorganization and serious preparation to confront the enemy. Now, this has to be Somaliland's biggest defeat. But how could this have happened? The SSC Khartoum must be getting some help, at least, from other nations. Somaliland's army is way stronger than the SSC Khartoum and whatever they could muster up, even with their allies in the Harti. They must be getting some other help. They must. The fall of Gochad marked the end of Somaliland's nearly 15 years of rule in the SSC Khartoum regions. It also revealed the overwhelming opposition to the secessionist ideology, primarily supported by the Isaac clan in the north. No, Somaliland, there is not that much opposition to the secessionist ideology. These events have united the people of the SSC regions, where the entire traditional leaders staunchly supported and rallied behind the popular movements against Somaliland's presence in Las Anod, underscoring the collective sentiment against secessionism in these regions. Why did they support us before? Why are they revealing this just now? The triumph is celebrated as a significant milestone for the SSC administration since the conflict's initiation in February between the opposing factions. Following an unexpected setback, the remaining forces of the Somaliland military have sought refuge in Dodida, situated in the northwest, aiming to regroup and recover, while Las Anod is now serving as the command center for the SSC Khartoum administration. Their spokesperson underscored the magnitude of Friday's triumph. They proudly announced the acquisition of all adjoining Somaliland military outposts, further enhancing their arsenal of seized armed war vehicles and significant stocks of weaponry and ammunition. On the 1st of September, the International Committee of the Red Cross stated it had collected 43 bodies from fighting in Las Anod. Allegations of external actors. There must be external actors helping the SSC Khartoum if they were able to defeat the Somaliland army, which is way bigger and better equipped than their armies. In the political fog of the conflict, both sides have alleged the presence of external actors in Las Anod. The Somaliland foreign military alleged they are fighting foreign armed groups on Las Anod and on the Las Anod side, including the Somali National Army, the Puntland Security Force, the Liu police fighters, Al-Shabaab fighters, and southern Somali states. All groups accused by Somaliland government have denied claims of organizational involvement. They are, some of them have to be involved. Al-Shabaab militant group has made a press release rejecting the Somaliland administration's claims of involvement in Las Anod war and accused them of apostasy. Actually, Al-Shabaab, you guys are the apostates. Puntland President Said Abdullahi Dani denied Puntland's involvement in the war and called for self-determination of the people on Sol region. Okay, Puntland is definitely, at least in some way, helping them. However, the local election campaign speech in Galkayo, Dani accused Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud and Musa Bihi of colluding against SSC Khartoum and Puntland, and that he was ready to defend both admins from all threats on May 5th. On March 11th, Somali Region President Mustafa Ajgar Omar denied DDS involvement in the Las Anod conflict. The Durbanti clan accused the Somaliland side of involving the Djibouti National Police, or just officers and Chinese weaponry smuggled via Djibouti. The Djibouti government has denied these claims. So we've come to an end. Well, guys, that is Wikipedia's take on the conflict in Las Anod. I largely agree with it, except for the sides that say Somalia has to give and has to fully pull out of the SSC regions. Well, guys, goodbye. See you later. Like and subscribe. Watch the video that's gonna come after this one. And hell, also, and I'm gonna be making videos these next few days, so also watch out for them. Goodbye. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.